When it comes to floor planning, wouldn't it be nice to have the freedom to buy what you want, from the place you want, at the price you want? Of course. So let Next Gear Capital maximize your floor plan and profits with non-auction purchasing.
This is Automotive Industry News.
Welcome to Automotive Industry News. I'm Stacy King. Our top stories: we call on an expert to demystify artificial intelligence and machine learning for auto dealers and lenders. And America's largest automaker announces a target date to eliminate gas-powered vehicles. Adoption of technology has been growing among used vehicle dealers for years, and it has exploded during the COVID-19 pandemic as dealers have adapted to government restrictions and customer demand by going increasingly digital. Among the latest technological innovations for dealers and auto lenders is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, for everything from inventory acquisition to identifying potential customers to underwriting. As with any new technology, it can take time for many dealers to learn to trust AI as a tool that can help their business. Here to help speed up that learning curve and take some of the mystery out of AI and machine learning is John Giamolvo, head of Subprime Auto for Trust Science, which uses AI and machine learning to uncover and accurately score more creditworthy car buyers. Hi, John. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
To many independent dealers, artificial intelligence and machine learning still sound like science fiction. What do they need to know about what kind of technology can do for dealers and auto lenders, including buy here, pay here operators?
Sure. And I understand that because it sounds that way to some folks. Science fiction is an interesting way of putting it. But I think when you think of the core technique of using AI and ML is scaling, reading, and understanding much more predictive data to augment what many dealers and lenders currently do in the marketplace to really sift out and uncover worthy consumers that I say sometimes, traditional scorecards and methodologies will either miss or dismiss. So when you use technologies where you're seeing massive amounts of data, it makes a lot of sense. And you end up uncovering these consumers by augmenting these processes. And these, to those who think it's, again, as you say, science fiction, it's really not. And it's not that scary because a lot of these data pools that are being used on the marketing side of things are already out there and have been out there for a while. So when you think about it, hey, I'm looking for this kind of consumer with the ability to buy this particular vehicle or make this kind of a payment, it actually really makes perfect sense then you would find that consumer using those marketing data sets to be able to score them and uncover them, because if they could be found that way, we should be able to see them on the creditworthiness side of things and be able to really properly gauge their creditworthiness and be able to put them in a car.
Has alternative data become more important now with the financial uncertainty for the COVID era?
I don't think there's any question about it. Things have really changed in a big way. Fortunately, I think it hasn't manifested itself all that negatively because of the liquidity that's been pumped into the market. But when you consider the employment churn and income churn that's happened with the unemployment rate going up and so forth, I think particularly in the independent market and the buy here, pay here market, where income and employment is so key to that business, levels of certainty have really become uncertainty. And, how long and how much, tenure and how much income is somebody capable of earning and what are they currently earning in that snapshot? That's changed a lot. And so you need a lot more to look at in there just around the income and employment issue. More importantly, I think, is the forbearances and accommodations that the CARES Act has put into place, where the bureaus have become somewhat less reliable, and they'll even, to their credit, admit that, because they don't get the reporting that they were getting in the past. But that has created a level of hindrance when it comes to the credit reporting, traditional bureaus. And again, to their credit, they've really even openly suggested to lenders in the marketplace, and hey, augment your data. Use the techniques that are used in AI and ML to be able to get that more holistic view, because we're not as reliable or predictive as we were last year.
What would you say to dealers who are still hesitant about using the technology that's available today?
AI and ML techniques have actually been around for a while. And when you think about uncovering worthy borrowers, what we do is not too dissimilar to a lot of techniques and digital techniques that have been used 20 years ago, when it seemed online auctions and used car trading platforms that seemed very disruptive and complex back then. When you consider what we do, how COVID has changed the landscape with the work at home environment and compressing years of expected migration to online from 10 years, maybe down to a year, it actually makes so much sense to use what we use. And the call from consumers that want a digital retailing environment that is touchless and delivery at home. Traditional methods in terms of credit and process and speed and automation just aren't going to cut it.
Automotive industry news will return in a moment. General Motors has been making gasoline-powered cars for more than 100 years, and it makes more of them than any other American manufacturer. But if all goes according to plan, that will end in 2035. No, GM is not planning to go out of business, but late last month, CEO Mary Barra announced the nation's largest automaker goal, to phase out its gas vehicles by that year and produce only electric models. Here is more from Reuters News Service.
In a dramatic shift, the largest U.S. automaker Thursday set an ambitious public goal to end the sale of gasoline and diesel-powered cars, SUVs, and light-duty trucks by the year 2035. General Motors also pledged to become carbon neutral by 2040. The news comes just over a week after President Joe Biden took office, promising to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and replace hundreds of thousands of government vehicles with electric models.
All-electric vehicle future.
GM Chief Executive Mary Barra has aggressively pushed the company to embrace electric vehicles, saying in a statement the automaker had worked with the Environmental Defense Fund to, quote, develop a shared vision of an all-electric future.
Making our EV future something people race toward.
GM has a long way to go. It sold 2.5 million vehicles in the United States last year, only about 20,000 of which were EVs. But GM said in November it was investing $27 billion in electric and autonomous vehicles over the next 5 years, up from $20 billion in earlier plans.
Why would an independent auto dealer sell certified pre-owned vehicles? The February issue of UCD Magazine tackles that question, as Tiffany Cannon of NIADA Certified Administrator GSFS Group points out that certified vehicles are in demand by consumers and profitable for dealers, and CPO allows you to compete in the hottest, most lucrative segment of the used vehicle industry. Given all that, maybe the real question is, why wouldn't you sell CPO? Check out why CPO and much more at ucdmagazine.com. Thanks for watching this edition of Automotive Industry News. I'm Stacy King.